Welcome to Healing Vibes with Aeriol, healing body, mind, and soul. Hello, everyone. Thanks for dropping in. This is the Healing Body, Mind, and Soul show, and I have the honor and privilege to be here today with Dr. Michelle Peticolas, and I'm super excited. Michelle was a co-author of mine in the book The Animal Legacies, and we've done a couple speaking summits together, but I think this is actually the first conversation, the first one-on-one when Michelle and I get to do a deep dive together. Now, the reason I wanted to bring up the book The Animal Legacies that both of us were in is because my two chapters in that are both about intuition, embracing your intuition, and really overcoming grief and overcoming that kind of drama that happens. Now, I wrote that book with you, Dr. Michelle, a little while ago, but it's interesting that both myself, I'm experiencing some things with, believe it or not, with my pets again. More pets. The more pets you have, the more of those that you get to live through. But also, don't you think that there is so much going on? We have been hearing so much about it on the Healing Body, Mind, and Soul podcast here. So much going on about the emotional body just being in turmoil during these times. The crazy pandemic and all of the things that are going on. So it's so great that you're here because I know you address all of these things in your work in a juicy and wonderful and accessible way. So Dr. Michelle, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for you being here today. And I want the listeners to really lean in and let's see where this conversation takes us. So Dr. Michelle, please tell us a little bit about yourself and the work that you do.
Well, thank you, Aeriol, and what a lovely introduction. So I am a life transformation coach. I specialize in women entrepreneurs, but any woman who is out there trying to make a difference in this world, who has gone through a major loss or life challenge, to help heal that and rediscover who they are and what they're meant to do. And what I have found, because I really have a lot of experience working with people through grief and loss with a rapid method. I started out with grief and loss in hospice, and I have to tell you that the standard way in which we work with grief and loss is not really the most effective way.
Ooh.
It isn't, and I could tell you a number of reasons why it isn't. I help people overcome that, but also use it as a doorway, as an opening, a portal to healing early childhood wounds that have never been resolved. So when we go through loss, it opens up all the griefs. It brings them all to the surface, and it's an opportunity to really heal once and for all and step into your true, authentic self and power.
Wow, that is some powerful stuff, Dr. Michelle. Love it. As a somatic energy healer and sound healer, you are speaking my language, and that vibration of the grief when it lives in the body, it lives in the energetic space, and until we do something intentionally to move it, it's just gonna hang out there, right?
And worse than that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's true, but worse than that, it actually affects your health. So those of you who are listening who are not woo-woo, although I can't imagine that you would be, but those of you who want a little bit of that scientific background, the process of holding on to your grief, of not feeling, it prevents you from feeling life. And it also literally constricts the flow of the fluids in your body. And it eventually can lead to illness. because
Absolutely.
because the hormones that are released around grief and loss are not supposed to hang out in your body for years and years and years. And
The issues in the tissues. I keep
that's
saying this,
yeah,
everybody.
that's
The
right.
issues in the tissues. We
It's
must
really true.
address them. The
Yeah.
issues in the tissues. I love what you're talking about. So if somebody is sitting in that space, what is the first thing that they can do to well, first I guess they need to acknowledge it, right, Dr. Michelle. But what is something that they can do if they're listening to the podcast right now and they're identifying with that space, like, oh, I think I might have some of that. What do you think that they should do?
Well, it's tricky. The first
Mm,
thing they need to do is to allow their feelings. But
mm,
sometimes that requires relearning and reprogramming. Because if, as a child, you were taught to repress your feelings, or you chose to repress them like I did because they weren't helping me,
mm,
then to learn to put them back online takes effort. And really, I hung out in my head most of my childhood and early adulthood. I loved my brain. It was a brilliant brain.
it's
But
a brilliant brain. What's not to love,
but I was,
right?
and I took good care of my body, but emotions, they would burst out of me unexpectedly because I just didn't have any way of accessing those emotions ahead of time. So they would literally, like a volcano building up pressure, finally burst out. And it still
Mm.
takes major effort and focus on my part to check in with myself. So, part of the first thing you need to do is learn how to check in, to become friends with your body, to learn the language of your body.
Mm. Yes, making friends with your body is great. Wiggling your toes, right? Yeah, wiggling your toes, remembering the whole body. Speaking of wiggling your toes, so I have recently had a personal trauma drama in my reality that I really can attest all of this is true that Dr. Michelle is saying. These things stay. And this is my area of work as well, but my dog became paralyzed. And I had, and it's my baby dog. I talk about her, Twinkie. She's my force of nature dog that's in my book. But my dog had a ruptured disc,
Mm.
and I had all kinds of, man, all of I call it the F bag, the fear, the betrayal, the anger, the grief, all of that stuff became very present in my reality over this last course of time. And some of my listeners know that already. They've been, or if you've been following on social media, that was going on. But the tools, even my own tools, I was drowning in all this. I had tools. Now, I did doggy Reiki and doggy physical therapy, and everybody who is following this knows she's like 80% better. It is absolute. I'm present to miracles every day. But still, in my body, even though I'm present to total miracles, I'm also present to all of this unresolved emotion and the fear that came up. Is my dog going to have a catheter for, she's my youngest one, and my dogs are spoiled and have long lives. So I'm like, oh my goodness, all the fear that you go to, all the extremes. So just recently I've had a whole kicking in of my post-trauma stress drama. And this is all so true. And I have been experiencing it, and at the same time, because of my work, witnessing it. But just because you can see it doesn't mean it makes it any easier to navigate.
True, 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 true. So, so what I like to say is we are spiritual beings, but the body has its own agenda. And when we start to remember that these bodies are animals and they
Mm,
have all these systems and they have 300 billion cells all working to keep us safe and alive. And when we do things or things happen that threaten this body, it responds. And once we start to realize that, then we have compassion for this body and we learn to take care of it. It's kind of like our little sister that we need to nurture and love and attend to. And when she's upset, we need to take care of her. We need to listen. What's the matter? What's going on? So for
Mm.
example, with you, Aeriol, you have this emotion. Where is it in your body?
Oh, absolutely. I'm very present. I know exactly where it is. It's right in the chest, especially on the on the right hand side. I'm like an expert in, ouch, my body hurts because I'm feeling something.
Okay, so
Yeah,
then we
yeah,
can
yeah.
go into the psychosomatics and say,
Mm,
well, what is that area? So that's the heart area. So that makes a lot of sense, right? That's the
yeah.
heart area. That's the love. That's the um, your connection to your soul, to your feelings. So then, what does she want? Focusing on that area of tension or that area of blockage or that pain. What what does that feel like? And when you attend to it, when you focus your thoughts, your awareness on that area, which by the way we all are capable of doing,
Mm.
what do you notice? Is it tense? Is it blocked? Is it painful? Is it sharp? Is it dull? Is it achy? What does it feel like?
Mm. Um, for me, what it wants, you asked, what does it want? Um, the feeling wants to move, and and I feel like that vehicle is breath. So just doing more breath work and just allowing the release of it, because it's such fine muscles, right?
Yes,
It's
yes.
it's stored in such a fine, in the fine fiber, the issues in the tissues
Issues,
that I
yes.
was, yeah, the issues in the tissues, right? And it can only move if it moves, right? Oh, that's a brilliant, Ariel. It can only move though, but the breath, but there's something about the rhythm of the breath and the flow and the vibration of the voice. So to
Yes,
speak it,
yes.
you know, to speak it, the fine vibrations of, as a vocalist, I use my voice like that. But I
Can you make a sound right now that will vibrate that area and have
oh, that's the
comfort?
voice analysis work actually that I do. Yeah, let's see. I can do that. Yeah, that brings it up, up and out. Yeah,
Yeah,
that fine vibration. Thank you for bringing my attention to that, Dr.
you're
Michelle.
welcome.
Yeah, and with the fine vibration, you know, the I can feel the flow up the back body as well as the front. And because I'm a vocalist and I focus the intention of tone, I also feel it off the top of the head releasing. So that says to me that the whole fountain of the energy system,
Is moving
um,
up through the
clears.
chakras and out through the
Mhm.
top of the head, which it
Clears,
is.
clears.
Yes,
Yes,
it's clearing.
ma'am.
It's clearing. So how do you feel right now?
Oh, I feel great. Well, couldn't be in better company, Dr. Michelle. I feel great. Thank you for
Awesome.
asking. Wonderful. So, Dr. Michelle, tell us about some of the juicy things that you're up to, in the world, and what's next on your horizons with everything that you're doing with your show, with all of your books. Tell us where you're going and where you're directed at this moment, besides this presencing, this awareness and healing that you're so beautiful at.
Well, I started a semi-monthly series called The Healer's Connection. And I'm
Mm,
inviting various healers to come on my stage and speak on Zoom. I'm inviting people to come on Zoom or to watch it streamed on Facebook, one of the Facebook groups that I have,
mm,
and then keeping it in a it's a free membership, but a membership site where people can actually access the recordings of the session and experience the different people. This is an opportunity. I just got this idea. I need to let people connect with the right person for them. It may be somebody who's an energy healer. It may be somebody who's a mental healer. It may be somebody who's a money healer. It might be just getting more a athletic coach or a physical body coach. It may be the nutrition that you're putting in your body. There's the right person for each one of us. And I want to enable people to find the right person for them. So I'm really excited, not to mention I get to hear all these people's great tools. And Aeriol, I may be talking to you again because eventually when I have enough, I want to start doing a podcast.
How awesome is that? That's really cool. I love that. That was a little bit of my vision when I created the Empowered Self-Care book. We have 25 practitioners that ended up creating our Body, Mind, Soul TV and media network from that, from the doing of that project that sort of evolved, which was really super exciting. And we have so we have a collection of healers. If you'd like to peruse our authors, I'm sure that they're all speakers and healers in the Empowered Self-Care,
Awesome.
Healing Body, Mind, and Soul for a Better World. So I'm sure that we can find you some healers and some speakers to really beef up the work that you're doing. It's so important, I think, to have this embodied kind of work, right? I think a lot of times spiritual, well, I've been a body worker and a metaphysician my whole career, but there's sort of there's a there's a chasm at times between body workers and energy workers and spiritual teachers, I noticed. And what I like about things that are happening now is everything's starting to synthesize. And that to me, and you mentioned earlier the woo-woo, for the woo-woo people, I totally want to normalize woo. I'm pretty tired of being marginalized in the woo category. So I'm really hard at work, Michelle, trying to normalize the woo. And I'm trying to just open people's minds about some things that that may have been pushed aside or categorized there. Just my personal thing. I'll get off my soapbox, although this is my soapbox.
Well, Aeriol, it's partly enabling people the doorway to come into another level and to ground it in some kind of physical understanding. So when I say, yeah, this affects your body on the energy level, well, hey, we can talk about the vibration of atoms and that we're on a vibration.
I know, isn't it exciting? It's super
totally
exciting. And, you know, when I studied aromatherapy, I got super excited about the sound frequencies of the oils. I've always been somebody to like, and recently when I was doing you might enjoy this, I had this aha moment about the periodic table of elements, and this is kind of what you're talking about. But if you take those the numbers of the periodic table of elements, at some point, if you keep reducing it down, that vibration, that number that they're listing, that is the element, it gets in the frequency of audible sound, right? And I'm like, what? Yes. So I just got really excited about elements and sound frequencies and that whole can of worms. So that's the direction that I'm headed, and I'm going with that vibration. And I know, and isn't it wonderful that, you know, quantum physics, all of these things that as energy workers we've been doing for so long, science is really, I don't know which side of the, yeah, they're catching up to the artists, right? Science is catching up to art, and it's wonderful. It's such an exciting time to be alive.
Oh, and Aeriol, I want to mention, we officially and powerfully moved into the age of Aquarius. And Aquarius is all about air and about energy and about vibration.
Mm-mm.
All those things that have developed over the last 100 years are all Aquarian, like radio and airplanes and anything that flies through the sky.
Isn't it exciting? I know. It's super exciting. You know, when I think, Michelle, about my own grandparents who have since passed, and so I have a different kind of relationship with them at this time, but when I think about their lives, and I think that they saw, horses and carriages, they saw cars, they saw they saw so much technology developing, and so much and stuff, and now kids are playing with iPads, at age 0, and they
Cell
just get the
phones.
technology. Yeah, it's like so interesting how technology has been integrated into our life differently, and we've
So
been
I have a
singing.
question for
Oh yeah.
you as an energy person. So how does that technological energy impact us? And can we transmute that
uh,
so that
yes.
it doesn't hurt our bodies? Is it
Yes.
possible to transmute it and like, I don't know, clarify it or become in sync with
I
it?
think more harmonize it, right?
Harmonize.
Not clarify it, but harmonize it, because I
Nice
think
word.
it affects our blood. It affects, if we look at like solar flares that are affecting us, any sort of magnetic frequencies. Don't even get me started about Bluetooth. It's like people, if you really think about it, people's bank accounts are running through it from Bluetooth. Everything is running through us all the time, and I think it makes it even more important to intentionally ground, right?
Yes.
To
Yes.
ground
Ground.
and to harmonize your own bioenergetic field,
Yes.
right? As much as you can. I do it on the outside by employing tones with, the bowls or whatever, but with intention inside by using the breath and voice. That is a powerful, powerful medium. But yeah, harmonizing the waves around us. Well, just look, to me, Dr. Michelle, when I look at you, you have a harmonized energy field to me. And and my listeners who are listening and can't see, I think that they can hear it in your voice, right? The power and passion of your voice. And I wouldn't be surprised if we did a voice analysis on you, that you would have not that many missing tones in your voice, because you fill out the whole vibrational frequency, the whole spectrum. You know what I'm I don't know if my
I
listeners
really
have lost me.
appreciate that. And
Yeah.
I have to acknowledge my Sufi teacher, my spiritual teacher, 30 years, 35
Oh,
years
is
of
that
working
right?
with him. And he used to have me read his materials. And he coached me on how to read. And my voice was molded by his work.
Okay. That is fascinating. Fascinating. Thanks for sharing that, Dr.
So
Michelle.
when I work with clients, I use that voice, that special vibration of my voice to take people into themselves, to
Mm,
draw them in, to get them to share what's going on inside of themselves. And it's very powerful.
mm. Of course. Of course. That's wonderful. I think that well, things like drumming, to mimic the heartbeat, but this goes
Mm-hmm.
back to pre-birth probably. You can calm a soul down,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, to the essence of the mother's voice, the muffled, the Charlie Brown teacher from inside the womb, right? I'm just being funny, but or actually maybe I'm just being funny, and it also is sort of
It's true.
true. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, Dr. Michelle, I know that our listeners are going to want to get a piece of this wonderful piece that you offer. Can you tell us how they can reach out to you?
Yes. Thank you for asking, Ariel. So, to get a sense of what I just took you through, of
Oh,
checking into your body, I have an audio that helps to take you into yourself and explore your own body and what's going on. And you can get it by going to www.releaseandthrive.com, and you can download that audio for free and see what that's like and see if that makes a difference. Now, if you want to go a little further, a little deeper, I can also offer, let's see if I can remember the name of the website for this. I have a challenge called your Life Purpose Challenge. And you can get this by going to releasebrilliance.com, www.releasebrilliance.com. And you'll be able to have access to that. And that's more work because there are maybe 10 videos or 9 videos in there, and there are worksheets. But if you want to find out a little bit more about your own life purpose and where you're headed, and then, of course, if you want to reach out to me, my website is secondchancesecrets.com.
Oh, that's wonderful. I went off on a tangent because I got excited. We didn't even talk about second chance secrets. I love that. I love that. I love that handle. I love that concept. Can you just real quick tell us a little bit about that? Just give us a little story.
Well, the story is simple. We go through some major life challenge, and when people lose a significant other, sometimes they don't even want to be here anymore.
Mm.
But if you're still here, there's probably something that you're still supposed to be doing. I enable those people, my clients, to find out what that is, to re-engage in life, and to harmonize the 4 what I call superpowers of a great human existence. And that's the body, which I said it's got its own agenda, and you have to learn to work with it.
Yep.
And then the mind, which works with the body to protect it, and it gets programmed very early on. Other, we're social beings, and the influence of others is huge. And sometimes we don't recognize it. And then finally, spirit, because that's who we are. And the spirit really should be at the top calling the shots. But in order for spirit to manifest and accomplish its mission, it's got to work with the other 3.
Mm. Mm. And we can get so impatient with body time, right?
We totally can.
The body consciousness is slow and methodical, though. It's like it totally, and it's like, nope, now I'm gonna do this.
And the
Love
mind
it.
is like, oh, what did you do? Oh, what about this? Oh. And the
Yep,
body's like,
exactly like
ah!
that. I know. And spirit is like, what the heck? Yeah, how do we get this team to work together?
Yeah, really, how do we get this team to work together? Can we just take a breath here?
I
But you got
love
to watch
it.
out for spirit, because part of spirit wants to just hang out in la la land and just like, oh, commune with nature. We got to bring that back down, baby, back down into earth, back into the body.
Yep. Fantastic. I love your work, Dr. Michelle. It is really, it is a joy. It's so fun to talk to you about grief. It's fun to talk to you about grief, and just and it's delightful to be able to present you today to our listeners, because I think this work is so very important. So thank you so much for assisting people in navigating to their true essence and their true soul purpose once they stop pleasing others, right?
Yeah.
Once they
Stop
stop
pleasing
pleasing.
or trying to control them, whatever it is that's
Whatever it is, yeah.
to come into yourself and to realize who you really are.
Fantastic. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us for this conversation today. I hope that you found it as interesting as myself. You can reach out to Dr. Michelle. All of her information is below in the show notes. I think you're going to want to, especially in the days to come, like, let's really everybody clean out the closet, get the issues out of the tissues, find somebody to help you navigate through these things, so that you can live a full and optimal, awesome life. All right, everybody, that's my 2 cents anyway. So until next time, happy healing.